Blackbird Spyplane. Inaugural Friday Fiasco.
Natural style podcasting. Shout out Rachel Trashcan Jean De Leon.
Should I set the vibe real quick?
Please do.
Should I pull up with a stick?
This is the only way I'm ever going to want a podcast ever again.
It's
so
incredibly
chill.
comfy.
I wonder if like that's because you're here versus like
Yeah.
if it was somebody else.
You bring a gentleness to the throwing fits to the goddamn motherfucking boys. That I think is like a refreshing, like dinner last night and hangout after was like with anybody else could have gone left. It was still a great fucking time. Did you have a favorite dish at Servos?
Yeah, Servo's great. Thank you guys again.
Our
These
pleasure,
guys-
brother.
These guys know how to treat an out-of-town visitor. A king returning to his ancestral
All right,
land.
there's a place called Dime Square.
Yeah.
Ever heard of it? You're like, yeah, I just got martini with Dean Kissick.
Shout out Dean.
Yeah, Servo's is great, man. I think, for me, it is hard to, it's so simple, but those fried shrimp heads are hard to argue with.
Yeah.
Those are the best, dude. And
It's,
that cabbage was crazy.
The cabbage.
I'm not
rocked.
normally a cabbage
Cabbage
man,
rocked.
but that
It's
hit.
it's not rare, but it's like, you can probably count it on two hands, like the number of restaurants that have like the vibe and the food at 10.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
one of them. And people always are like, oh, Servos overrated or like whatever, been there, done that. And it still fucking hits every time for me.
People say overrated?
Not overrated, but just like
Gets talked about.
it's been
a lot.
around for a minute.
Sure.
But I know there's classics. It's like I was in LA recently and hit up Little Dom's, which is one of these spots that, just like
Classique.
I realized I've been going there this while, but like almost 20 years now.
Wow.
Since they opened. And I was like, this shit is still good. I don't give a fuck if it's like happening, if it's popping, if it feels like a cliche to go to Little Dom's. Shit is great.
Yeah.
So Servos, they're on that path.
Consistency is key.
It is. It is.
Really.
And one question I want to ask you. So we went to Clando's after for a beer, but we stuck around for several beers, several Red Stripes, because we ran into my brother
Mhm.
who immediately told me that he used to pay and no longer does. So
Wow.
Ian, have some decorum.
I think
Oh, really? That was
he
his opener?
Shout out Ian. I think he rectified that this morning.
Oh, no.
He sent me the screenshot. I was
No.
like, Ian, what the fuck? Like, do you
Dude.
not? I think he was nervous.
No, he was cool, man.
You got to meet every canceled subscriber and just charm their fucking panties off so they feel guilty the next morning.
Yeah. I'm on a mission to I don't know what I'm mission
Shake
to.
every
Just
hand
shake
and kiss every
hand.
baby.
Shake every
Exactly.
baby, kiss every hand.
Uh-huh.
Maybe people can probably hear in my voice that we did have more than one beer at the at the bar after dinner, and also, man, those vodka martinis really just
Well, you were getting dirties, right? Because they
I
have
was
the
getting
50-50, which is awesome.
yeah. I was getting the straight 100% vodka joints.
Yeah, Tito's.
The Tito's joints, and man, they just really snuck up. And
They do. They tend to do that.
They
you're
go
talking
down
to
so
a
smooth.
You're talking to a shattered man. So I'm a puddle in this comfortable chair, and
You've had a rough go at it.
Oh, dude.
You've had a rough 24 hours in New York. It started off real shitty.
yeah. My
Fuck Lyft. And
fuck
anyone who
Lyft.
love them.
It's like every time I come back here, because I'm from New York, but I've lived in the Bay for almost a decade now, and every time I come back, I mean, it's something I've said to other friends, but like I feel like in like the proverbial romantic comedy where like the fish out of water shows up from the Midwest and immediately like a taxi cab like splashes water on them, a bike
fucking-
messenger says, "Get the fuck out of the way."
You see a bunch of Hasidic Jews, you're like, yo, it's ZZ Top.
You don't move like a mark, though.
Well, apparently I look like a mark to this Lyft driver because I get out of the airport, and actually I acted like a mark in the sense that typically I take the A train, man of the people style,
Right.
rocket from Howard Beach, hop on the AirTran, whatever it is,
Howard Beach Rocket.
Yeah, dude. To the
or
moon,
Rockaway,
dude.
whatever the station is out there, and just kind of ride in on the train.
Neil
I
Armstrong.
like passing through the wetlands. If you don't take the train from JFK, you don't know there's beautiful wetlands there. Anyway, so I come outside and play myself by not taking the train, not taking a yellow cab,
Right.
but hopping in homie's Camry. And he takes me into town and drops me off. And like an hour later, I get an email from Lyft saying you've been assessed an $80 damage charge. I'm like, what the fuck? And so this dude uploaded the same photo twice. This was his evidence of like basically people on Twitter thought that it was Chipotle, like an
It was Chipotle burrito bowl.
It was confirmed Chipotle.
Okay, there we go. So like 24 remaining grains of rice from a Chipotle
Exactly. You could
burrito
count
bowl
them. You could count them for sure.
lying on his carpet with like an empty, compostable, bin or whatever. And so I'm like, so I write back to customer service or whatever. I'm like, no, either this driver's mistaken about which passenger did this, or this is a scam.
Finesse.
And they write back immediately after extensive review, like 2 seconds later, after extensive review, no, you're asked out. You're played. You got
Chipotle was the case that they gave me, dude. You were guilty before proving anything, dude.
You left cursed big tech Bay Area 6,000 miles and still came back to haunt you.
I know, man. I truly. So yeah, I feel like I'm showing up and just moving goofy. Apparently, I don't
That's
know.
a stock photo that he has that he is just using as a scam for any passenger from the airport who's like, oh, out of towner, got their ass.
I think so. And I tried anyway. Yeah, I was messaging with Goose because I posted the photo of the burrito bowl to Twitter, and she's like, I guess we have to take photos, each time we get in and out of a lift now. I was like, or just save a photo of a clean back seat to your camera roll.
Beat him at his own game.
Because it's what this dude is. What this dude's got.
Yeah, dude.
Damn, cancel culture is real. $80 fine culture is real.
Wow, dude.
Man.
But you got to take, listen, Uber evil, Lyft evil, but come on, you played yourself, dude.
I played
Next time you take a
myself.
city bike in.
I don't know. It's just all these apps, they're like, because I don't blame this dude. Who knows? Maybe his cut's getting a little, rougher. It's these apps, and it's funny that how over the last few years, like all these kind of like, putative disruptors have just been shown to do the same shit that Rose already doing, but just at hyper speed, just making everything worse. Yeah, they're contradiction.
He's a product of the system.
He's a product of the system. You want that $80 that bad, dude? Enjoy it. Let's see the karmic payback on that.
For real.
And now the venture capitalists are no longer subsidizing our lives. You got to pay the full 80.
Yeah,
I'm sure it used to be 20.
Yeah. Yep. So, but that's one little blemish on what's otherwise been a.
But not the best way to start the trip.
Yeah.
Well, last night was movie. A question that kind of came into my mind because like people are coming up to you and being like, "Yo, what up? I'm a fan. Nice to meet you." Does that happen to you in the Bay? And like, is that you seemed a little like obviously you're a humble motherfucker. When that happens to us, we're like, "Yo, yeah, whatever." But
we
like,
ham it
you're
up
just
hard.
like, "Hey, how are you? Like, nice to meet you."
Oh,
Is it still a novelty to you?
I mean, yeah, a little bit. It's cool to it happens in the Bay. With like, I guess I put my face on Instagram enough, even in the newsletter a lot.
The Bay's also eternally swagless. Not eternally, but currently.
You told us your
That's
top
true.
markets, and I believe the Bay was not accounted for in the top three, right?
No, it's I guess it's number 4. This is extrapolating off like Instagram data because Substack
we do the same.
doesn't give it, but I think it's like sort of New York, London, or LA. I don't remember which one's number 2. And then coming in number 4 is San Francisco.
Coming up the rear like toilet paper.
But yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, it's cool. But yeah, New York, like the last time I was here, I remember just like, it's fun. You guys, I'm sure have, the exact same experience. You're walking around, someone goes, "Yo, Blackbird Spyplane." And it feels, obviously it's like an ego boost, but also it's like, yo, this is sick. This thing that I'm pumping out into kind of a void.
It's being received.
It's connecting.
It's being received. It's being connected. So that like, it's evidence of that. And that feels nice.
It puts a battery in your back for sure.
Absolutely.
It's just great to see you just take it, not like in stride, like if it was a negative thing, but yeah, just a humble genius, dude.
We got the Concorde pilot touching down tonight. Jonah, what we on this weekend?
Man, well, tonight we're going to go see the Kate Berlant show.
Oh, hell yeah.
Friend of the newsletter. She did a great interview a couple weeks ago. She's been a comedian that we like for a long time now. So the show's apparently great. I don't know if you guys have seen it or if you're
No, but I've heard that it's fucking awesome.
There's buzz on it, right? People were talking about the show.
There was a big thing in the Times, was it? Or someone wrote something.
Yeah.
As they are wont to do.
Yeah. Been getting a lot of press. She's cool. She has a good podcast too, actually. It's her and this comedian Jacqueline Novak. Not to promo another
we're behind the paywall. People are paying to hear this, so
there we go. So check out Poog. It's ostensibly about like
Poog?
It's Goop backwards.
Oh,
so it's like ostensibly kind of like a satirical look at like the beauty and wellness industry, but 2 really smart comedians doing it. Anyway, so we're gonna check that out. And the occasion for the trip, besides partying with the goddamn motherfucking boys last night, is partying with my dad, who's turning 80. So we're gonna surprise him.
Did he put that call into Big Walt to let him know that like he can prepare himself mentally and physically for your arrival?
I wanted basically the surprise to kind of like happen when the doorbell rang and his son walks in.
But
my mom, exactly. My mom. But we were talking about this last night, but my mom, who is French, and so I always have to do her accent. She's like, "Jonah, I think it's a bad idea. Honestly, it's so nice to think about doing a surprise, but practically speaking, I think it's a mistake. Both because, like heart, who knows? You don't want to give the man, a shock, and also just like he's got his mental preparation he needs to do just as a complainy particular old man, So yeah, I'm gonna give him a heads up, a couple hours out.
That's nice of you, dude. What a guy.
Not trying to kill my dad.
No, right,
Yeah.
dude. That would be a bummer.
What a gift.
Happy
The gift of
80th.
sweet release.
Yeah, happy 80th birthday, dude. See ya.
To Mr.
Deuces.
Mr. Weiner.
Yeah.
Jonah, this is the inaugural Friday Fiasco. We're giving this thing a shot. Besides these semi-regular, kind of more low-key, casual convos, as a longtime listener and like a very thorough listener, I must say thank you for all the support. What do you want to see out of Throwing Fits in 2023?
Oh shit.
Let's make this about us.
I was gonna say getting self-serving real fast.
Already, yeah, the constructive criticism type section.
Yeah. The reverse CC.
Yeah, I mean, I always love when you guys. I mean, you got obviously you'll like the vibes are guaranteed good more or less no matter who comes through. But what I really like, and maybe this will be some sort of opportunity for a version of this, like get really in the weeds. But I like when you talk to kind of like insiders, sort of people with like, a view on whether it's sort of, retail or design or whatever it is. I'm kind of like, maybe you can get a little nerdy with it.
Like an expert?
Yeah, like an expert and someone just like in the weeds, just someone who's, it's not necessarily, I don't know, doesn't feel like a Marquee Tuesday name or something, but just kind of like someone who's just going to like open up, a world of fascinating details, adjacent to, whatever it is, just someone in the biz.
When that happens, typically, like, it doesn't matter. Like, I think the easiest way to judge the size of a guest, or people equate like quality with like Instagram following or just like boldface name. And what's always kind of surprising and refreshing is that those like insiders with, a few thousand Instagram followers can sometimes do bigger numbers than the people with like 6 figures or 7 figures on IG and like are legit, a known entity.
Right.
Does that happen with Blackbird?
Oh,
like, do you get more like a higher open rate with like a name that doesn't fucking bang as hard?
Yeah, I mean, there's no direct. I mean, this is like partly why magazines that rely on putting famous people's faces on the cover
when they hire you to write the profile,
and oftentimes I've written these stories, but they've been struggling for a while because there's just like a fatigue and sort of in the population generally around just kind of like famous people, like unless there's this, I don't know. Yeah.
What does Kendall Jenner have to say this month?
But I will say, to suck your dick a bit, I think that's why people love your profiles, because it's not that typical. It's like and shout out to the Beyoncés of the world and whatever, but it's like another one of those. People don't want that anymore. They've read that a million times.
Yeah, I think so.
But what does Kourtney Kardashian have to say?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So there's a bit of fatigue, I think there generally. So yeah, I mean, certainly like I'm sure that you guys and I have like a similar experience of this. Just because someone's, way more famous than someone else doesn't mean that that's necessarily going to connect with people, because I mean, I don't know. Yeah. There's just a fatigue.
And they have more to lose by being honest.
And
they have everything to lose.
That's why I'm actually, I mean, real talk, I'm going to tell, to go back to your question about what I might want to see in 2023, especially from these Friday scenarios. I feel like this seat, this vibe, this couch, this corner is like a truth serum. I feel so relaxed that I might get, I mean, thankfully I have this buffer of like 3 levels of hangover that are going to keep me restrained. But if I didn't have that, I might just
say some shit,
spill all of the secrets. So maybe you get people in here, and maybe this kind of like, you let people, not in a sneaky way, but they'll get the guard down and you'll have real kind of open, maybe get some tea.
I gotta, do you want some tea, by the way?
Not
Afterwards,
right
it's
now.
too
Dude, my diabolical mind is fucking churning right now.
I need to fucking light more. I need to cut more sticks.
Dangerously relaxed.
Too chill for your own good.
And that's kind of, you were saying last night, like sort of like cruise into the weekend kind of vibe. Like you want this to be a mellow.
I think there's a certain listener that misses those Friday boys vibes, though those were out of control.
And it's also like it's a
this.
podcast. You can kind of listen to it whenever you want.
It also is true.
That's right.
It releases on a Tuesday. You can open it on a Friday if you want. Just a little friendly advice. There's also somebody that's like, is there a tier where I can pay more to skip the ads? It's like, there's a 15-second skip button and it's a 30-second ad. So I can't do the math, but I'm sure
you can figure it out.
Can.
Yeah. A lot of people need you to, walk them through the internet.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah. That's the best part of the parasocial relationship, is the straight hand holding that some people desire and require.
What are you in, a hotel or Airbnb?
Rented a pretty nice spot on the Lower East Side. Not much to say about it. It has kind of like
Lower East Side or White Chinatown?
You tell me. Rivington.
Lower East Side.
Yeah.
You're in the thick of it, buddy.
Yeah. No, it's a good spot. Big old building. It's one of these spots where like central air, so it's like it's 90 degrees in the spot because the heat's just fucking blasting, and so you just have to like crack open a window and have the sub-zero chill help modulate it. Yeah.
The hottest summer I ever spent was a winter in a New York City radiator heated apartment.
Yeah.
How are the interior decorating vibes at this Airbnb?
Is it like a live, love, laugh?
Is it cursed?
No, it's actually not cursed. That's like Airbnbs have gotten, just like so professionalized and shit. It's just kind of like IKEA.
Sure.
Yeah, generally speaking.
White
like
box type shit.
Little fucking like label maker shits on everything.
Spoons.
Bunch of, spoons and also just like rules and shit. This one is like one of those classic, like, oh, this is actually someone cool.
Oh, okay,
someone cool lives here.
Oh, nice.
Sort of mismatched, like sick mid-century kind of chairs, like long wood table, big fucking light dangling from a high ceiling kind of vibe. Yeah,
Free fire.
Big plants everywhere. No, it's nice. It's actually someone's home.
Yo, speaking of Lyft, Airbnb, are the big tech vibes in San Francisco, is it extra cursed right now with all the layoffs? And like, what's the fucking just general aura there?
Heat
and then
check.
Yeah, scene report on San Francisco. And then also, is this like an opportunity for the city to maybe like reassess, like maybe not everything should be catering to the fucking ultra cursed tech bros,
The technocrats.
that snapped up everything, in the last few decades?
I think that's overly optimistic.
Really?
Yeah.
Fuck.
No
It's
course correction.
No artists
Insight.
allowed.
It's just it's a bummer vibe, man. I mean, it's obviously such a beautiful city. There's a lot of beautiful people there, but people are struggling.
Many of them without homes.
I mean, who knows? Like maybe in some sense, I don't know. Like, what was there? There was a tweet that got dunked on the other day. Someone from Google or something. Maybe you guys will remember when I'm like halfway through because I'm gonna like fuck it up a little bit. But someone being like who had gotten laid off, who worked at Google, and they were like, what the fuck? They were asking for some kind of like, they're like, this is really traumatizing to be laid off, and they were asking for some sort of like they phrased it almost like they wanted like a product designer to create. It was something called like psychological safe harbor. Like I don't know. They were invoking
a woe is me app.
Exactly. They were like
woe is me.io.
They're like, yo, this really feels. I don't remember what the phrase was. I'll have to look it up. Whatever. People can find it. But essentially, just kind of like suddenly reckoning with the fact that like life isn't sweet for a lot of people, and I don't know, but the sense
Can
of
the people that ruin my life create a solution to ruin my life even further?
sort of like and so who knows? I mean, because like I don't know, when I was growing up, this is gonna get like sort of heavy, but like like being homeless felt like this kind of like alien, unimaginable condition. And I think sort of as the social safety net's gotten shredded, as the cursed emanations from the Bay, among other places, have gotten thicker and thicker, more and more people are just kind of like feeling like, oh shit, like I'm dangling by a thread. Like the line between me and, I don't know, that dude who I thought like was living some unimaginable existence is maybe like a little thinner than I thought. So I don't know, maybe it's an opportunity for empathy, but I mean that
would be silver lining, right? Like a little bit of a new perspective for like the average person.
Or you make room for like people fucking bounce. You make room for like some creatives and some artists and some young people.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, I don't know.
Immigrants.
Though I did see a take that was like everyone who's getting laid off with presumably like big severance packages from these, tech jobs. It's like, where are they going to go and gentrify next?
Yeah.
What, like little beach town or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Minneapolis.
No, because absolutely.
Yeah, go to Cleveland.
Yeah, please.
That happened during the pandemic when people didn't need to go into their offices, but they had like San Francisco level comp.
But in like Austin, Texas.
Just moving to, and not even that, but just like driving the rent up like all kinds of places where just like, oh, my in-laws are over here. Like we'll have like childcare or whatever it is.
Right.
Just kind of like the rental market getting goofy just from all that money. Yeah. So that's why I said you might be overly optimistic to think that these
glass half empty on a Friday, baby. Let's go.
But are you a lifer? Are you a Bay Area lifer?
It's hard to. I'm at odds in some way with the.
You guys have a beautiful home.
Thank you. Oh yeah, you came over. Did you come over?
No, I didn't come over, but we did our first podcast via Zoom, and you're in the little fucking
in my little cottage.
Bungalow.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to have space.
The vibe cave.
In all the banal ways. Like the weather's tight, the produce is good. The nature, I mean, truly, what I keep coming back to is like, I'll have like a great night like last night, which doesn't happen as much in the Bay.
You said everything closes mad early, right?
Shit closes early. And like I've got kind of like, a lot of our friends like have kids. It's just like I've got a buddy who owns like a sick bar called Bar Part Time, and I'll go out there if I want a kind of like rager type experience.
Cut loose.
Shout out to Bar Part Time. But generally speaking,
isn't there a tagline like greatest bar in the world or something?
I think it's probably the greatest. Bar in the world.
Fire, dude. Probably the only podcast that matters.
It's a clutch. It's
Presumably.
a clutch, probably.
I take your word for it, but I gotta say it's maybe a 2-horse race with them and Max Club Deuce down
Hell
in
yeah.
South Beach.
Yep.
Those motherfuckers got to start paying you, bro.
Seriously,
real,
I mean,
bro.
because I know what you're
Goddamn
talking about
spokesman.
just from listening to this podcast. I haven't actually been.
You
there,
love it.
but-
You can smoke inside.
I know. I'm aware.
and it's 2 for 1 before like 8 p.m. or something.
So
with Budweiser.
I'll see people like when I'm in the Bay, I will kind of like, look at Instagram or whatever and see photos of people having the kind of night that we had last night. And I might be like,
FOMO?
get a little twinge, but what I need to remind myself is on some grass is always greener shit. I mean, yeah, like the FOMO that I would get when I was living here and saw someone
Right.
in a hike through the redwoods was way more profound.
Yeah.
So it's super fucking expensive to live there. Like that's not tight, but the nature is there's something kind of like, I don't know, that's never going to get old.
the delta between the city itself and like the surrounding outdoorsy area, like because the city for me at least is like such a fucking low bar, and then like the surrounding areas are so fire.
Yeah.
That delta is higher than like any other city, New York very much included.
Yeah. No, I mean it's wild. It's like some of the most beautiful shit you'll see in the world.
You're feeding your soul. We're
Feeding my
our-
soul.
we're feeding our gullets. It's just it's a personal preference, right?
There's
And,
gluttons over here.
Yeah.
And I can still, I can still wear all my GORP out there, and it's not
True.
a fashion statement. It's just appropriate.
Yo, perfect segue. Is GORP dead? And regardless of the answer, is it kind of better as like a true head, someone who helped like I think pioneer this trend, if we're being completely frank? Is it like better that things have arguably cooled down for that space, that trend, that lifestyle?
See, I don't think it's dead exactly. It's almost like I'll probably do like 7 mixed metaphors now, but it's almost like like with anything like that, and with that sort of like hot moment of GORP, let's say that crested a year and a half, 2 years
Trying to
ago.
think
It was
when
number
Arc hit the
one. It
Fitties
was number
hard.
1 in the Fitties last year.
Yeah.
It was not even in. We did not even choose to include it as a trend in the Fitties this year,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean that. I think it trickled down to the masses as a
Right.
trend, because on TikTok, which is a younger audience, people are like, "Yo, why is GORP not included?" And we're like, "Well, because
Yeah.
it didn't like dominate this tier that we kind of the plane we exist in, quite as hard as it may have once it like kind of
Yeah.
trickled down.
There's also
Trickled down swagonomics.
there's this hot homie that was going viral on TikTok, like predicting his trends for 2023, and people are clowning him, like people that are like, I'm in the know. And one of his like brands to watch, or whatever, was Arc'teryx, and everyone's like,
okay.
that's over. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
well, I mean, the timing on this stuff is always really funny. But I suppose, like, to answer the question via a kind of like Blackbird Spyplane or reader or Throwing Fits listener in mind, where they're going to
Yeah.
be clowning on that guy, as opposed to like, someon who's like, oh shit,
What is
how,
this?
How do you spell
Yeah,
that?
yeah, how do you pronounce this?
Where does the apostrophe go?
I love not being wet.
But yeah, I think it's sort of like with anything like this, it's like the metaphor that comes to mind is like a sort of tide comes in,
Yeah.
Mhm.
saturates the beach, and then it rolls out, and it's going to leave some flotsam and jetsam. And what I mean by that is
Great words.
I guess, is it still flotsam and jetsam when it's on the beach? Whatever, it's going to leave some shit on the
Who
beach.
cares?
It's not jetsam, I believe. I know this because in a recent Boys Only, we were calling the VIP checklist girls flotsam and jetsam hose.
Yeah, I
They're just
know.
water trash.
And some driftwood, some algae, whatever.
Some shells, some
Yeah,
seaweed.
shells, some beautiful
hermit
stuff.
crabs.
So what I mean by that is like the wave has crested, it's receded, but what's left behind, I think, are some like stable pieces. So the same way that like you had the great podcast recently with Avery Trufelman talking about her season about prep. It's kind of like prep at a certain point is going to just sort of like leave on the beach like an Oxford cloth button down. So even if prep isn't super bussin' at
Right.
that moment, there are these pieces. And so like a Patagonia snap tee, that's always like, you're always going to work that in.
Forever
So
Jones.
I think even 2 years ago, like being like head to toe arced out or something was going to look a little costumey.
For sure.
Especially now. And so it's
Especially if
just about
you're just
kind of
grabbing
like,
a coffee, bro.
especially if you're just grabbing a coffee. And so it's maybe about sort of like
Climbing Mount
weaving
Blank
in,
Street.
weaving in some staple, like, or not even staple, whatever, just like some pieces that catch your eye. Like I showed up, they're out in the hallway now, but in a pair of Keen Uniques.
Oh, fire.
Player
what I mean?
edition.
There's
PEs.
no other GORP on me, but like you just kind of like work something in that
Yeah.
has
The
a little
Japan
flavor.
exclusives.
They
to
are
be
Japan exclusives.
And also
crystal clear.
GORP
Please, don't get it twisted.
GORP can't actually die, right? Because
Yeah.
like it was born as a niche, or
Yeah.
it is a niche. It fucking exploded into like a trend, and then like you said, left some shit behind, and like hopefully through osmosis, people do take some GORP qualities into their the other sectors of their lives.
And it's a genre.
But there's still heads.
Yeah, and there's always going to be heads. So it's just on that parabola or whatever. It's on that sine curve.
Yeah.
And when it's a genre where it's based foundationally in function versus form, it's like people need this stuff for the shit that they actually do in real life. So of course it's not going to go anywhere. I just think this idea of like, if people being like it's over, it's kind of crazy to hear that take, and it's like not totally wrong, right?
As a trend, maybe.
Yeah, of course,
as a mass trend.
The tide's out.
Yeah,
or it's
for now,
it's rushing out for now.
It's
but
ebbing.
Again, but
is it flowing? It's ebbing.
But
it's a neep tide.
but I think we got the seashells. That's what I'm saying. There's still seashells on the beach.
Of course,
the seashells are fine. Sea glass.
Exactly.
What's like your typical fit if you're doing something gorpy? If you're going on a hike on like a shitty day, on a shitty rainy day.
You know, it's funny. Like I went on a hike the other day in some roasted and toasted like mud caked Arc'teryx boots that I've had for a while.
Fire.
But and probably like maybe like an End Wanderer puffer, because that's the other thing is like, I mean, truly, like the shit is expensive.
Mm-hmm.
If you went in on it within the last 2 years, just like hold on to that shit, just like rock that shit. Don't toss it. Those are your seashells. Like
hold that shit.
You got your seashells.
Hold.
It's your armor.
But then I threw on a pair of it was like a little cold out, and these kind of like 90s era like super baggy double pleated polo country corduroys that I'd gotten on eBay for like $40, and just like these sort of like roomy, comfortable corduroys, just like cuffed up over the Arc'teryx boots. They kind of worked. It wasn't the most strenuous hike. I probably would have been sweating balls, even in the cold. But I think that's like a nice thing about GORP too, is that it can actually sort of like, it can, the same way that like you and your kind of like city going to get coffee, fit can incorporate some GORP pieces. I feel like actually when you're GORPed out in nature, in GORP's natural element, it's actually it's a welcoming, it casts a wide net. You can rock some corduroys on a trail and look just fine.
Bro, I was climbing for years in like old J. Crew chinos.
Exactly.
Like I find it cool when you do like exactly what you're saying, where like you're doing the GORP activity, but you maybe incorporate something that isn't like a fucking high performing, shell Arc'teryx that's been gear tested on fucking Everest or K2 or whatever.
Because no, you're right. Because like real talk, like as ridiculous as that shit looks going to get coffee, like also like if you're fully kitted, just like on like the local like nature
like a trail
walk,
warrior or some shit,
you're still looking at
a fucking GORP hardo.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The $1 million question though is, did you ask Aaron to take a fit pic in that gear?
Of
you,
I probably did.
Odds are good.
What can I ask a question just real quick on the climbing? So like why are rock climbers eternally swagless?
You that's not a world that I know anything about. You're my expert on the rock climbing.
You're like
line.
Speak for yourself, sweetheart.
Okay, when I go to the gym, it's like New York like people, but you're in like the American, not like the heart of it, but like there's definitely more climbing enthusiasts out west in the Bay,
like actual Yosemite, like
actual
free
fucking
solo.
free stonemasons. Are they swagless?
I don't know. At a certain point, I think like if you're like that fit, then you're probably just like your hotness levels are so high that
you don't need to worry
swag
about it.
becomes semi-relevant.
Okay,
just pop that shirt off.
It's funny. The Bay is full of like dudes who are not swaggy in any kind of like traditional sense, but they're so fit and they're so hot that it's just like that's what they've got going for them.
I think in New York at least, and maybe this is true out west, I don't know, but there's a confluence in climbing of climbers and tech guys who view it like problem solving,
right?
And not it's like
that's
like
gross.
And like what's the beta? I fucking hate that term.
You know what I wonder? I mean, I should be the person to answer this, but I don't have an answer for it. But here's a question that I have: is kind of like whether the swag levels are actually rising among tech workers, because obviously there's the stereotype which like just can't, like, it feels old. It feels like it's got to have been elaborated upon, or
like the hoodie, flip flops,
the hoodie, flip flops, or
vest.
the Patagonia Salesforce vest, that
Corpo,
that kind
GoPro.
of thing, the Corpo GoPro. Like I'm wondering between someone like just Jack Dorsey, very famously rocking like all kinds of outre shit, and also like someone making genuinely cool clothes like Evan Kenori in the city. Like he's got a local kind of like, I mean, I don't know his numbers, but I imagine that like a lot of the people buying Evan Kenori shit are tech dudes.
Really?
And I wonder if just to to sustain a business in the city, in that city, I think necessarily it has to be. Yeah,
is it status symbols for those guys? Because that's what it's all about, right? You know, their own like little subtle flex.
Like this brown shirt cost $4,000.
Exactly.
I think no. I mean, truly, actually, yes. You know what it is? I wonder. I wonder if there's a degree of like, you know, like is it like Brunello that Zuckerberg wears?
Does he?
Yeah, I think like there's a T-shirt.
The juicy coochie.
There's a coochie T-shirt that that
like
Mark
it just
Zuckerberg
looks like a whatever
swears by, but
really,
like
it's
if
actually
sort of like if you
maybe James Purse.
If you're, I'm 99.9%
or Laura Piana is like this for a lot of finance guys, obviously.
Yes.
You know,
so like
Evan
like,
from Snapchat is a fuck. What would you say? James Purse guy.
Oh, interesting. So I wonder if there isn't a certain like subset of cooler, you know, Bay Area, tech dude who the same way that like I don't know, like it's like a younger generation or whatever it is, like these codes, right? These bylaws are so fascinating. Like if you're like a billionaire, you're like, oh yeah, that's the Brunello. I can whether there's some telltale sign that I can ID that shit. I wonder if similarly, yeah, exactly. Like, oh, that brown 2-pocket shirt. Is, I know what you're doing.
I recognize
King.
the cut of that pocket.
Exactly.
The guy Evan.
Yeah.
Another trend.
Shout out to Evan, friend of the newsletter.
I would love to get my hands on some Evan Kenori one day, but maybe this will help our Patreon numbers get us into Evan Kenori territory. Another trend that I want to, you're a fun guy, a mushroom man.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about like the mainstreamification of psychedelia? Most recently exhibited in the Lil Yachty album.
Oh yeah, right. Which is cool.
But also like the proliferation of like online ceramics wannabes. I mean, obviously, just like the laws changing, but like this type of shit from Gentlefulness.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, what do you think of it?
Well, first off, not to derail. What I'm about to derail your question by revealing that on Christmas Day, just this past Christmas, Erin was visiting her family. I was all alone at the crib, and I had for like the last 2 years sitting in the freezer 3 tabs of acid. I've done acid, so I spent Christmas Day.
Took all 3.
Didn't do all
just
3,
like the good Lord intended.
Dropped one. And got right with God.
What do you do?
Drop
you
in
just
to
chill
drop out
in the vibe cave?
Well, I was a little, all right. So yeah, I've done shrooms a fair amount, and so I didn't feel like totally shook or nervous about what it's gonna be like. But that said, who knows? So I did my due diligence. Like the night before, I was on. There's this site called Airwid or something, which is kind of like classic crunchy, like dyed in
it's like Web 1.0
drug heads. Yeah, it's great, like funky old Web 0.0, like web design
type shit,
and just kind of like tips, like, hey, if you're feeling this way, do this.
Smell some
remedies.
Pepper.
So like, I was just, cause basically I didn't want to be like, I just don't want to have a bad time. Like, wants to waste the fucking day feeling like dog shit. So I took acid for the first time. It basically felt to me, I wonder how much of this is what I brought to it, but basically like very similarly, like of a kind with mushrooms. I was just feeling the connectedness of all beings.
Sure.
More visuals though.
Yeah, the shit was very similar to what I see when I'm on mushrooms, actually. Not like no hallucinations in this. My eyes looked fucked up. My eyes looked weird.
Eyes were fucked.
Like looking in the mirror and being like, what?
Yeah, I couldn't deal with the mirror too
you want to avoid
much
those.
because my pupils were just like, they probably were actually super dilated as it like in objective reality. And then the way that they looked to
Also
me
in
was
Jonah's
my eyes
reality.
were like, just expanding like
looking
big
like a kawaii
black
girl.
void.
I was gonna say straight. My man was on anime mode.
Looking like an IG baddie.
IG baddie, and that was a little disconcerting. But yeah, so like shit was super swimmy,
shimmery.
Yeah, like a lot of melty kind of
Love that
vibes.
shimmer.
I went out into the backyard. It's nice to have a backyard, and just kind of like a really colorful bird who I think existed landed in the bird bath.
Pokemon in real life.
And what did this bird start speaking? Start speaking to you?
But yeah, I was just full of. I was full of like. I mean, like what's sick about mushrooms? I mean, a lot of shit is sick about mushrooms, and what's sick about acid is like just so much shit feels profound. Like that is sort of dumb, but also is true. So I was just writing down mad mantras in a notebook. And real talk, this is I don't have like a great story here except like how comical this was that I was just grooving off drawing smiley faces so hard.
Sick, dude.
New merch?
And it's fun. I mean, it's so fun because obviously the smiley face is such a cliche. You see it, in any number of brands.
Chinatown Market or just Market.
And it's sort of so synonymous with this kind of like 60s counterculture moment. And so I don't know if that is why I was grooving on them, or if there's something imminent to that shape that was just, I was like, oh, I've unlocked, now that I'm on the other side of an LSD trip, like the smiley face totally hits different now to me. Like it does. I don't know. I was just the circle. It was just so fun. I think also you're trying to stave off, because like things can go south, things can get dark, and just drawing a smiley face, it just feels good.
Staving off
just
the darkness.
keeping your shit.
Any of those other mantras that like you saw the next day and were like, oh damn, I'm onto something, or
you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
you know what's funny? Like the shit had me like cleaning the house actually.
What?
Like, and I'd read this online before. They were like, clutter and mess will bum you out, or bums a lot of people out.
Is Marie Kondo a fucking
dude? She's off
on
her
her LSD shit.
So I was like in the kitchen, like getting a snack. And I had this guidebook also inadvertently with LSD World Peace, you know, the artist. I had a book of his stuff. This dude, Joe Roberts, who's actually out in the Bay. And so like I'm looking at his paintings, book of his paintings, and there's like a thing of peanut butter. I'm like, oh, thank you, Joe. I do need some protein. So I go into the kitchen, like, you know, get a snack or whatever. And there's like crud on the counter, and I'm just like cleaning off the counter.
Damn, Aaron must have loved this.
Yeah, right.
And I know
You should do acid more often,
no,
Jonah.
absolutely. I was like, she couldn't be mad that I was cleaning the fucking cat's litter boxes. Fucking insane. But yeah, I'm like cleaning up the counter, and I was like, why is this not cleaning up? And I was like, oh, there are things that are on the stone, and there are things that are in the stone.
Ooh,
so that was one of them.
I was like, I don't know what that
that
means, but I know what it means.
Some things are in the stone, and some things are on the stone.
Totally.
Did any of this make it into any sledders?
No, I haven't. I don't think I've written about it yet. Yeah, I feel
Not the trip, but like any like
Any
mantras
insights?
or insights.
You know, I don't know, because they say that, you know, like there's this like cliche where people are like, you know, like if we only dosed Richard Nixon, you know, like there wouldn't have been a Vietnam, you know, the Vietnam War wouldn't have lasted as long if we only dosed Donald Trump. I think that there might be some like, I think you might, no, you know, like just certain like, man, if only I don't know, this like sort of like hippie dream, if only you dosed people. They would like come to feel the peace and love that maybe you felt.
We OD
I think if you have darkness in your soul, the acid may only just sort of like, I don't know if it's going to cure that darkness. And so again, to your point about sort of like shit getting mainstream, I think, I mean, this is not a new observation. I think microdosing is kind of like a whack idea in the sense, to the degree that it's sort of like, oh, this will boost your productivity.
Yeah,
You'll be better at solving problems.
Oh, right.
I'm actually reading this great book right now, this History of Palo Alto. Like that shit was apparently in LSD culture from the start. Like tech firms were like executives were dosing each
the US
other.
military.
Yeah.
It was all military contracts. Well, yeah, on subjects, but I'm saying like even like executives like to like ideate and come up with new ideas.
Okay.
They were dropping acid to get creative and just like create new products and like better, essentially like electronics for like missile defense
MK
systems.
Ultra productivity, dude.
And MK Ultra productivity.
What if the stone had stuff in it and on it?
But that said, I understand microdosing to the degree that this shit was fucking long.
How long?
My buddy who gave it to me was like, take it as early as you can, because if it's this like really chill dude who actually, I think he's a Throw Gang paid subscriber. He might be listening. My man Wes, who runs a store, a great GORP store called Understory in Oakland.
Shout out Wes.
He was like, he's this like chill skater dude. He's like, oh yeah. Because I was like, hey man, like anything I should know. I was kind of nervous. He's like, oh no, I just pop a tab and go out skating, like go to the city. So I was like, all right,
Wes.
but
So
he was
take
like,
it early.
But he's like, take it early, because if you take it at 4, man, you will be up at 4 a.m. So I did. It was the most responsible acid trip in the sense of like I woke up at 8. I think I dropped it at 9, and it like started hitting at 10, and at 10 p.m.
Wow.
I was still fucking off.
12 hours.
A tabioli. Yeah. And thank you, it was like winding down. I was able to go to sleep. It was like 12 hours. So you're just like,
Off the Margiela tabbies.
You're just like sitting there.
Yeah, you're jacked
like,
up.
Mushrooms, like my experience, has been like 6 hours. Or so, you know, like on a proper dose. I've never gone like full heroic.
Do you always go like a full 1/8?
I don't know if I don't know how much I take, but I just have a bad memory from numbers. But I have like, I go.
Yeah, that bad memory might be a side effect of all these drugs. Bro.
Might be. But at least that, like, you know, like it has a kind of like it goes up and you're peaking and then this was almost just like,
okay,
this was just for me. I don't know, people who've done it more might have like conflicting experiences. For me, it was kind of like it turned on and it was that way.
This is the marathon that you sprint all the way through, dude.
It was that way for 12 hours. And I just remember like looking at the clock periodically and being like, fuck, 7 more hours of this? Fuck, 4 more hours of this?
Did you watch anything? Did you flick up at all?
No, I played records. I drew. I took notes, and I
sounded
cleaned
the best?
the fucking
What record
house.
sounded the best? I'm actually curious. What was hitting?
The Alex G record.
Oh, your boy.
I started actually understanding how unwell people feel that records and musicians are talking to them, and like you know, like, oh,
message
there's
from
a
the
message
artist for me. Yeah.
Absolutely, because that same part of your brain.
Alex G wants me to burn down a church.
Exactly.
Alex G wants me to assassinate Donald Trump.
Right. Like those stories.
Probably.
I totally, because basically you find meaning in everything, right?
Yeah.
Like everything feels significant. And so like I was catching all kinds of like, oh shit. I was like, I mean, again, not in so many like harshed out, like I need to go assassinate John Lennon,
Right.
you know, version of it. But I was just like, oh, I was like, Alex G must take acid all the time because this is all about acid, like everything. Yeah. So the Alex G record, I mean, which I love,
Jodie
Sober, was awesome. Was
Tight.
definitely, yeah, it was awesome on LSD.
Nice.
And just like dub reggae, just classic shit, man. Just like sonically, just like trippy shit.
No Sublime.
No Sublime. I kept the I kept the reggae Gen 1.
Okay.
Dead?
I have good friends who are big into the Dead.
Were you ever into the Dead?
I've never no. Not that I'm not into them, but
Right.
just, I haven't caught that wave. But there are these bands like Steely Dan. I would like check in with them for a long time and be like, am I at the place where I can fuck with this yet? And I remember periodically checking in, and finally, like one day it clicked. So
This wasn't on your acid trip. This was like
no. Just like
lifetime.
over the last 15 years, like checking in, like still can't go
Am I
there.
old enough yet to? Am I
That's
dad
what it
mode
was.
yet to
Am
get
I
Steely Dan?
years old, and one day I was Steely Dan years old.
Hell
and
yeah.
now,
And you know what?
Tasty.
Honestly, everyone is. You just gotta fucking check in and figure it out.
just got to keep checking in. So I just got to keep checking in with the Dead and see if it. Yeah, one day it's gonna happen.
What was the acid fit?
Damn.
Yeah, how
That's a
cozy
good
did you
question.
get?
Actually, you know what? I fucked up the fit because I wore a pair of vintage Levi's 550s.
Is the advice that you want to be in your most comfortable shit?
Well, I wonder because essentially, basically, I had to pop the button on these pretty fast. You get your
After that peanut butter.
Your stomach, your stomach starts feeling a little. Anyway, yeah. So
After a jar of fucking Jif, dude.
I'm more forgiving. I don't think you want to be in PJs. Can you feel maybe like kind of like messy and sloppy?
like slumped.
I wanted to be put together, like have some guardrails, some sartorial guardrails on.
Right. Yeah.
But that said, the waist was pinching.
So we busted open the belly.
Yeah, elastic waist for
That's your tip
for my future trip.
For an elastic mind.
Yeah, right.
What else? What else were you wearing? What was the fit?
Oh yeah,
That's all.
You're just wearing pants.
Yeah, just pants, man.
that's chill.
Pants. No, I probably like
a nice soft shirt.
I think I had a snap tee fleece on because it was December. It was a little chilly out. Yeah, snap tee fleece. I did not really think very much about the fit. I think it was my yellow snap tee and some old blue jeans.
Were there any professional revelations in terms of like where the slider is at, or your
This is on the
journalism?
This was on the eve of the Concorde launching, right?
Concorde it launched in November, so Concorde was out.
So it already happened.
Yeah, no real slit. No, I
but
didn't
it's towards the year's Christmas, so it's at the end of the year, and
yeah,
a lot of reflection during that time.
Yeah,
you went into it.
That's the thing is there wasn't a lot of like zoomed out thinking. It was it was really just like finding little mantras and right up close to it. So I didn't zoom out. I didn't really think about work at all. I didn't really think about the newsletter in any.
I guess that's good,
explicit
right?
sense.
You don't want to be like
I was taking
maybe
a little
thinking about
vacation.
work.
It was a little vacation.
Yeah.
And real talk.
Free your
I will say
mind.
doing Christmas was smart in the sense that, I mean, a lot of people obviously would be a family. The fact that I was alone, it was so clutch because at any point in that 12 hours, if there had been a knock at the door, I would have just hidden in a corner.
Right.
I was not ready to deal with
Another human.
with the outside world. And so
any
that was a good
interaction.
safe day for just kind of like,
Right.
and I didn't realize until like hour 8, I was like, oh, fuck. It's so good I did this on Christmas because like, if anyone had needed anything from me, I would have been I would just collapse into
Sorry, I'm in
collapse into
outer
a pile.
space.
All I have is peanut butter.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I'm just trying to eat crackers and peanut butter.
How's Concorde doing?
Concorde is great, man. Shout out to Erin. She
Is it like a full role reversal where like kind of where she does the voice and you're kind of like supporting from the back end?
Yeah, basically.
By voice, I mean writing and intel.
I like to
support the back end.
Support the back end. Basically, exactly. Like if the kind of like the normal newsletter, or not normal, if Blackbird Spyplane non-Concorde edition is kind of me, at the wheel taking the lead, and Erin being like a crucial sounding board and finding things.
Co-pilot.
It's pretty much straight reversal where she takes the lead, but if I just like see something, whatever, I don't know, piece of women's jewelry, I just like send
See
it
something,
away,
say
but it's
something.
cool, and she's probably better at helping me than I am at helping her. I think she's often like, no, I'm not into that at all, but thank you. But no, it's doing great. And we already had like a fair amount, we try and keep the shit pretty unisex in the newsletter. And I guess if Spyplane was kind of like unisex leaning dude-ish, her thing. She tries to keep, Concord, she tries to keep unisex leaning femme, and obviously these lines are getting blurrier and blurrier by the day. But we already had a lot of women who subscribed, but that number has, again, we don't have like raw data, but anecdotally, like that number has increased unsurprisingly a lot. And we have just like, I think in part the fact that we are never mean and we're never negative, we have just like the nicest readers on the planet. It's so good, which like
jealous.
If only
there's no, because I think if we were like
listeners
listeners
like ours,
that's our fault. By the way.
well, because you guys, I mean, whatever you guys,
we do what we do.
You do what you do,
We
and,
do
and
well.
I think dudes, or people who listen,
No, it's 95%.
I'm gonna bust their balls. I'm gonna fuck around with them. And
boys being boys, dudes rock.
exactly. And so
For the fellas.
it's such a nice energy, and yeah, it's nice to have a bunch of new people, mostly women, signing up for Concord, and hopefully enjoying everything that we put out.
With the launch being so successful, and obviously the amazing press that you guys got, did that like maybe put a battery in your back, to use that phrase again, about like continuing to iterate like in 2023? And is there anything maybe that like is on the horizon that's like another kind of, not a pivot, because it obviously like makes sense, like the Concord launch makes total sense for the Blackbird Spyplane brand, but more just new shit?
Yeah, I mean, we basically focus on the $5 a month, sort of that element of it, because you just sort of, that can add up fast, as you guys know.
Absolutely.
And we err on the side of saying no to much else beyond that. We've done a couple merch drops, but we don't want to like an eternally stocked store where there's just sitting there. I mean, partially it's because I think you guys probably feel a version of this. Just kind of like sick of not just sick of clothes, but just like you're so aware of how much shit is out there, like clogging stores, clogging thrift stores, clogging landfills. You don't want to add to that. And then in terms of partnerships, it needs to feel pretty right. It's never going to be something that makes a lot of dough, but like we did a shoe last year with Tarvis, very sick small brand out of Finland. They make stuff in Helsinki. And we just like found this like the homie Yuka at Tarvis sent us like photos of different swatches of things that they had kind of like dead stock and extra. And so it was like super limited edition, doing things like that, like collaborating with someone who feels right on a thing, which obviously you guys have done like so many great versions of, like that feels right. We don't actively pursue this stuff though. Like we don't,
a lot
like,
of it's inbound more than you guys like chasing.
It's kind of got to be inbound. And also because I sort of feel like, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like if I kind of cold call someone, sometimes I feel like saying, like, the moment you get to the phrase,
do the voice.
the moment I get to the phrase "my newsletter," I feel like it's like someone like inviting you to my improv show or my play. You know what I mean? There's a certain kind of like, I'm sure my podcast, like actually now maybe more and more, I don't know.
But it wasn't when we started, bro. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, exactly. And so like cold calling someone who has no idea what it is, like I just don't even know if they're gonna like fuck with the vision,
take you seriously or whatever
soon enough to. So yeah, it's just shit that's inbound so far.
Let those partners come to you, because then you're like, all right, we're already past phase one of that potential partner or whatever, understanding what the fuck this is all about.
But it would be sick if we had a little more like, to a degree, some biz dev mindset, not to just make shit just to make shit. Like we don't like, there's this fetish for scale. We don't care about it. We don't need 10X. We don't have investors. We're just like, the classic thing of there's something that you love and then it gets big and you love it less because they're spread themselves too thin. They do too much. And I mean, probably this is dumb. I think there's someone who'd say, when you're popping, make as much money as possible.
Capitalize.
That's what we're trying to do.
And it's smart.
Right now, literally.
Friend of the show, Chris Black, said very similar. I was talking with him once. He's like, dude, like I've been here before, like where you're like on, like milk as much from it as
sell
possible,
out as much as possible,
because it's not you're gonna regret it, when you're not popping, and all the checks you left on the table.
Yeah, but that, I don't know, you could fucking Icarus it, Blackbird Spyplane, fly too close to the sun.
Yeah, so we stay far away from the sun. Not literally, actually. Shout out to the sun. We like to be in the sun as much as possible.
Shout out to the sun. What's been the most ridiculous like bag or opportunity that has approached you? Like, did like fucking like BP come to you and they're like, hey, we saw your Cursed John's
Lockheed Martin
issue? Yeah.
No, I mean, I think for the same reason that like cold calls would feel weird. No one who's a wrong fit has hollered.
Okay.
It's all people in the universe.
Have there been like significant bags that you've had to turn down because it just didn't make sense?
We never got far enough down the road with anything to learn what the bag would have been.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
probably for the better, because you never know when you could be fucking tempted. I mean, take it from us.
No, it's true. It's true.
But BPSBP, excuse me, has never been bigger. You were telling us, like, the Concord press hits like really significantly increased the eyeballs.
Yeah, it's. I mean, a version of this might be like, dude being like, "Yo, check out Arc'teryx in 2023." But it's so funny. Like, I'm doing this shit twice a week. You feel like, okay, Blackbird Spyplane has been around for a minute, and yet there's just kind of like, I mean, unsurprisingly,
how long?
In absolute numbers
right now? Where are we
2
at?
years, 3 years.
It's gonna be 3 years in like May or something.
Crazy, bro.
And
feels like just yesterday we did a 4-hour Zoom podcast on the eve of the inaugural flight.
I know, that was so fun. That was so fun. And it's nice. This is our first one
here
in James's apartment. We did the last one in person, but at a hotel. What the fuck was I saying? Oh yeah. So I think there's just like people learning about it, and like over the Business of Fashion actually just hit me up this morning. The reason that I'm about the numbers I'm about to recite, I did not prepare for you guys. That would be weird, but because a reporter of Business of Fashion hit me up and said, "Hey, I'm doing a thing about sort of like fashion newsletters." Same woman who actually did a thing about it's like an updated piece.
It's just her beat.
She wrote
yeah.
I guess she
very specific.
Anyway, some piece. She was like, "I'm curious about your growth." So I looked it up. And it's wild. Over like from February 2022 to February 2023, where we are now, it was like 117% increase in the overall.
That's fire.
In the overall, list, and something like and it was a 67% increase in the paids.
So sick, dude.
Over 1 year.
That's awesome.
So that's
deserved too.
That's sick.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Are we still getting those big names coming in as subscribers? Because we were talking like, I don't know if it was pod 1 or I guess it must have been pod 2. You're like, there's definitely some heavy hitters.
Yeah,
subscribe to the Sletter.
I don't I don't get notifications on like new signups, so it just has to be like I have to happen to be looking at like the roles when one comes in.
Can I ask a question? And this is not a slight, but the whole bit on Twitter about cracking the top 10 of the Substack culture, the top 10. It feels a little anti Blackbird to like care about those numbers. No,
is that the point?
Yeah, I guess so. I think that it's I guess I'm trying to make fun of the part of myself that does care about that.
High school brain. We talked about high school brain a lot last night. It's a curse that all of us, carry around.
It's that dog in you.
Yeah.
But I do have this incredibly stupid bit where I call myself Recon Odysseus trying to get back to newsletter Ithaca.
But you're Recon Sisyphus, bro.
Yeah.
It's more like Recon Sisyphus sometimes. God damn. Rolling a stone.
But he finds pleasure in the work.
That's a nice read on Sisyphus.
Find pleasure in the curse, fellas.
Find
your
Fiasco
rock.
Classics Corner.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the classics real quick.
Wow.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I shouldn't care about that. Thankfully, I don't. I mean,
there's part of you that does.
Well, one thing that I like is because people be like, "Oh, how many subscribers do you have? How many subscribers do you have?" This comes up obviously a lot. And what I realized is that it's kind of tighter to say, well, we're like number 11 on the culture rankings, because I think that actually tells you more than a number, which is to say, if you're in the biz, you kind of know what a number means. I was talking about this with someone the other day, but it's kind of like if you're out of the music industry and you hear like someone sold 10,000 copies of their CD in a week, you might go, God damn, holy shit.
Yeah.
And that's infinitesimal. Or they sold 100,000. You're like, okay, is it 2002 or is it 2022?
Right.
So these numbers.
He's 0.001 platinum.
But if it's like but if you say top 10 Billboard chart.
Or if you just like, Alex G. Alex G is popping. That album's great. Everyone loves Alex G. How many records did he sell?
Right.
It's probably, I don't know.
Who knows?
42,000? Who knows?
50K.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
So I'm just we're just Alex G mode. It's just that Alex G aura.
Yeah.
Have you been in the top 10 recently, or are we chasing that right now? Where are we at?
Right now we're at number 11. But truly, again, I need to not care about this. So no further questions about this. But we would be number 10. But there's this dude Steve Schmidt, longtime Republican political consultant. Yeah. For some reason, his politics newsletter is number 6. Well, so if he got the fuck out of the paint onto the politics list, we would be number 10.
But that's probably why he does it, right? Because he's like, it's a crowded field, the politics
fish, small pond.
That's what we look at the chartables of like fashion beauty, and it's all like celebrity gossip or like, I went to this, I got my pussy wax at the fucking, the new spa or whatever.
Wait, what's this guy's name? Steve what?
Steve Schmidt.
Yeah, we do Steve Schmidt mode. Like that's our mindset because that's why we're on the fashion beauty charts. I get it, bro.
He can't hold his own against the Barry Weisses and the Glenn
right.
Greenwald.
Exactly.
Anyway, so you put an asterisk next to his ass, and we are number 10.
Hell yeah. Soon to be
number one and number one in our fucking hearts, baby.
That's the thing. I don't want to be higher than number 10.
What is number one?
Some
like NPR bullshit.
Someone going beast mode.
I don't remember. Probably something great.
Yeah, true.
Absolutely, dude.
If Throwing Fits ever start up a newsletter, we will stay out of the culture lane and let you cook.
Thank you.
Because we don't want to compete.
We
with
also
God.
don't want to fucking write anything, so
Yeah.
don't even worry about
Man,
it.
if that
Thursday
Thursday
soon.
dumper was on the top 10, ooh, I'd be mad.
This rug came from a BBSP recommendation, 1111.
Hell yeah, great line.
Recognize
Great
it?
line.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. And I remember you asked me like, "Yo, any rugs?" And I think I pointed you towards our paywalled Master John Index, a great resource. And I said, "Do a Command F for rugs here."
I think I did, but this was a straight up. You were just like not
just
profiling,
put
but
it-
like you were like, "Yo, 1111's dope."
Yeah, we did.
And then I think the rug was in there. Yeah, the rug was like either on their site or in the slider. I don't know. But then the rug Master John's list that you sent me to, I unfortunately couldn't find anything the right size.
Oh, well, we got to put this in that list.
Well, I did order one fucking 12 weeks ago and it hasn't arrived yet because supply chain.
Damn.
You know what the fuck going on? Hand woven in Guatemala though.
No, it's a really beautiful corner. Does the camera capture the rug?
I don't think so.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think
It's that fucking 3 minutes.
the best friends behind the
Something no one
paywall
can see.
can peep this fucking beautiful weave.
This is a work in progress. This is Friday Fiasco Whip.
Let's talk more about your decor.
What do you want to know?
No, I'm just kidding.
Talk sconces.
Oh, you got the do's and trash can. Shout out to Ellen, friend of the newsletter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On top of the very stained cold picnic runner.
The crib's spyplaned out.
Yeah.
Same little.
That's
no,
that's the highest compliment.
What else do you see?
A lot of friends of this.
We are cruising at 50,000 feet at Mach speed up in this bitch.
Yeah.
That's,
I mean, everyone sees the Boro every week. Everyone, that's like
Yep, the
obviously
Boro.
the piece de resistance.
the Roomba.
Yeah.
Dirt McGirt Jr.
Hell yeah.
His father passed away in
Unfortunately.
a swift obsolescence.
Oof.
As machine suicide. Jonah, anything else?
I have one more question.
Yeah.
Obviously, everyone knows you as the fucking Sledder King, but you also write these fucking fire profiles. A lot of those people have also popped up in this letter themselves to kind of, I would imagine, return the favor to some degree, keep the two-way street open. Since we last talked to you, you filed a fucking sick piece on the god Michael Mann.
Oh, man.
Obviously, you're not
Enzo.
going to like spoil too much stuff, but is there a couple goats in the work, or do you have like some targets that you want to share that we can manifest? Like,
Oh,
very
yeah.
curious about who's on Deckington.
Yeah. Well, thank you. That man story. I mean, I'm glad you got a kick out of it because I know you're
Oh, dude,
a
come
student
on,
of
bro.
the. You're a
Come
student of
on,
his work.
brother.
He's a man.
That's my guy, dude.
You're
I'm a man.
He's a man.
They call me Kendrick Lamar because I'm man,
Did you
dude.
see the photo of Adam Driver? He looks fucking sick.
Oh,
And I hate
yeah.
Adam Driver, but he looks awesome.
You hate Adam Driver?
I do.
I haven't seen no, I haven't seen that yet, but I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, he's playing Ferrari in Man's next movie, and I went out to Italy to
Enzo.
do that, and I didn't meet Driver. I was just with Man in kind of pre.
If I'm with man, I'm not trying to kick it with Driver. I'm trying to
You were with man
stay
just
locked
talking
in with man.
You were with man talking fucking
Wallpaper.
Yeah, talking wallpaper, talking all kinds of shit. I mean, he's a detail oriented guy. So,
It was fire that pic of that wallpaper ended up like
Yeah.
coming out because like, you know, it's being described and you're like, well, I'll see this in the movie or whatever.
Yeah.
But then like, I think, some still or something, maybe it was that pic, but like seeing the wallpaper was like, oh, fuck.
Well, I love shit like that. That's why I like writing these stories. It's kind of when you're
Oh, yeah,
with
look
someone
how
who
hard-
thinks
look how
about
hard
it.
he
Dude,
looks.
Come on,
Oh,
bro.
sick. All
Yeah.
right. So for the people at home, James is showing me a photo of Adam Driver as Enzo Ferrari.
He's a
and he looks
silver-haired
fucking
Enzo Ferrari.
great.
Dude, he's going to crush.
Fuck, it's gonna be good. God damn.
Can't wait, dude.
And they were like building all these like replica Porsche, not Porsches,
Ferraris.
Hello, Ferrari movie. Building these like replicas, and he's like talking about how he's gonna get the sound mix right, so the engine's just like
Oh, dude,
tearing your fucking ears
I can't
apart.
Wait.
So that was tight. Yeah, that was great, and that's the kind of thing I love being able to do that. And so I still do a couple profiles. The one that's lined up. I mean, it's like locked. He's signed on for it, but until it happens, you never know. But Bong Joon-ho, I'll be going to Seoul in the summer to do a
Bong.
profile of him for his next movie.
Bong bong, baby.
What do we know about the project? You know, like
You're
You're going to Korea?
I think gonna go there while he's like. So he shot it in London. It's Robert Pattinson.
Oh, that's right.
I'm not familiar.
It's
Robert Pattinson
there's-
said it's like, yo, the way he makes movies is like unlike anything I've ever experienced. It's like completely different from like
Sick.
any
Interesting.
other director, American or non. That was like the one thing he said about Big Bong.
I'll probably talk with Pattinson for it and get his insights.
I'm gonna get him to make you some pasta in the oven.
Yeah, right, exactly right. Microwave some ramen or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll go to Seoul. Oh yeah, what's it about? I don't really know. There's it's based on a novel. People can probably look it up, but there's some kind of like there's not clones, but there are like multiple versions of a person.
I'm fucking sold, dude. I hope he rocks the Stussy bucket when you see him.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What a king. Big swag.
Yeah,
Big Bong.
he does get off fits, doesn't he?
Are you gonna
He
spend extra
does.
time in when you've gone over? I know you went to Japan recently, but like you're fucking in Seoul. Like, are you gonna go around Korea at all?
No, I'm so
East Asia?
stoked. Yeah, I've never been.
The
So
shopping is
I've
going to
gotta-
be fire.
Yeah, I've got to build in some time for sure.
You were just
to,
in Japan though.
Yeah.
How was that?
Absolutely. It
How's
was
the motherland doing?
it was a cool time to be there because they had just essentially maybe like 2 weeks before we got there, they'd reopened to basically like pre-2020 protocol, which is I think you had to show your like vaccination or something.
No, like
But
2-week
otherwise-
quarantine and
Yeah.
the fucking
No quarantine.
Although if you're gonna quarantine for 2 weeks in a hotel, doing it in Japan might be the right place to do it.
Absolutely. Shout out to the Park Hyatt in Shinjuku. Classic. That's another one like the little doms, like the servos, just an institution. Is it the hippest place? I don't know, but damn, they do it right. Yeah, the shit was tight because it was not overrun with people who
With guy
who
jeans.
looked like us with fellow guy jeans. We were like fairly underrepresented in the populace because shit was still kind of new. People were getting used to the borders being effectively open again. The yen was
Down bad.
was down
Down
bad,
horrendous.
which was down bad for my wallet because it meant that I copped mad shit I didn't
Did you go with
need.
an empty suitcase?
I that is a good idea. This time I just left some room in the suitcase.
What were
to,
the big pickups?
Jacket that I wore here, this
Captain Sunshine?
Captain Sunshine, kind of like silvery gray puffer. Got last night when I was at you guys, I was rocking this vintage or not vintage, just secondhand. It's like a few years old Yoji kind of like hooded wool coat.
It did inspire great conversation and the difference between Warlock and Shylock. Very different things.
Yeah, I was like, I look like a dark warlock, and Jim's like, I think that's anti-Semitic. I was like, you mean Shylock?
That's a banger though. That shit
Yeah,
like
it's like
touching.
a-
You're a tall guy. That's down to the ankles,
An
bro.
assassin's cloak.
Yeah.
It is. It's a little. It's kind of tripping me up when my
Yeah?
my stride might be a little.
Really?
Too, no, I don't know. I just mean physically, it's so long.
Well, you know what's hard? You know what
It's hitting
fuck-
my ankles.
You know what did fuck you up was when we were sitting at the bar at Servos and you're like, I can't hang this on the
Yeah.
hook because it'll be on the floor.
It's
I
too
hate
long.
hanging shit
Yeah.
on the hook because no matter what, it's on the floor.
gonna drag.
Or like your feet, people's feet are touching
Yeah.
it. Like
Tell
there's
Yogi
Coat
shoes.
my
that
cloak
long
is
is going to be like
dragging on the
70%
floor.
on the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
Elbows touching the floor.
I copped that. Shout out to friend of the pod, Ezra Koenig.
Mhm.
He and Rashida were out there because Rashida was working out there, and so we linked up with them, and they brought us to a couple sick vintage spots.
How are they as shoppers?
Methodical. Ezra strikes me as a methodical ass motherfucker for sure.
He is
But
generally
also
speaking,
whimsical.
Yes.
as a shopper. Yeah, I mean he's
Plenty of
loose.
whimsy in that
But
man.
He knows what he likes. He's sort of. I mean, he's just like Ezra's an intellectual. He'll intellectualize about anything. So you kind of like it's always. It's kind of like being on acid. There's significance everywhere when you're with him.
Right.
He found this
Truly.
really sick. So this was in the newsletter. If people want to look up like the full list of like recommendations, but one of the places they brought us was a secondhand store that specializes in Yoji and Comme des Garçons, and things like that. But those are like the two things that are really well represented at this spot. It's like on the 4th floor of a building. It's called Tento, number 10, and then TOW. And it's in Shibuya. Did I say that?
Shibuya.
So,
Are those two
Did you
different
say that?
things?
What do you mean? Did you say that?
oh, I didn't know if I'd said the neighborhood yet. But then
Oh, sorry.
I was pausing because you were putting the emphasis on a different syllable than I thought.
Shibuya.
Oh, okay.
Shibuya.
Oh, I thought
Shibuya.
the shit gets all right.
Shibuya?
I'm
I don't
learning
know.
something. All right.
Ask my mom.
I trust you, dude. I trust you. Anyways, that spot was fire, and then like it was cool. Rashida and Aaron went to this spot. There was like that spot Tento. You can actually get deals. There's this other spot called Archive Store, which is nearby.
That's like
which
a-
is like
Do they
It's
sell
like
archive?
a brand, like you see it on IG and show.
they
all the
have
time. It's
amazing shit, but it'll be like
expensive
a
as fuck.
Margiela, like actually Margiela designed like bottle cap
Mhm.
vest for like $10,000.
Yeah, real
type
crazy
shit.
like
Good cop.
grail
And
level
then-
stuff. Yeah,
and it's under this shirt.
You can buy that
you
same
haven't heard me
you can-
clinking.
you can buy that same jacket at Bodie for twice that much. Actually,
Yeah, it is kind of proto Bodhi.
Bodo.
That spot was sick. But that's like a museum. They have like rotating like Margiela era Hermes. While we were there, it was like a Phoebe era Celine.
Oh wow,
right.
Collection on display.
Perfect for the girlies.
Was it that was like a little event, or that was just like they just had that?
I think they basically have like it's like a gallery. It's like a permanent collection and like a rotating whatever. So that was the rotating thing.
Well, I mean, I would highly advise leaving a bunch of room when you go to Seoul for the shopping, and please hit us with the recommendations.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I just got there's a sword
letter.
It's called W Concept. I don't know if it's physical retail, if they have a physical retail, but check it out.
Yeah, I gotta prep for that. I can't fuck that trip up.
No, that could be. I mean, Japan must be a fucking pescatarian's dream.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
you're gonna go crazy in Seoul too.
Yeah, I mean, shit.
Is it more beefy? It's probably beefier there. Right?
I got to check in with a couple people
action
with like on the ground Seoul experience and get some tips because I'm really at this point I'm like totally like close to going in blind.
All the soul heads.
I've got till August.
We need that soul glow
July to figure it out.
Hell yeah.
Sick, bro.
Jonah,
do you want to plug anything?
Where can they follow you?
Do you want to like deliver a message directly?
What do you got coming up?
To the all right. Paid throw gang.
The best kind of throw game.
I don't know what part of the month it is right now when you're listening to this, but if your card's about to expire, fucking renew that shit. All right. Shout out to Throwing Fits, patreon.com/throwingfits. Okay. Keep those credit cards current.
Yes, please.
Right? Churn is real.
Mm-hmm. Hit up your parents if you need to,
Yep.
Get the correct.
So make sure you sign up with an email that is active.
Yes.
Because there's been a few recently where they're like, hey, I signed up with like my old email. It's like, why'd you do that?
Yeah. That was stupid.
And how'd you do that?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I just thought it was funny to plug Throwing Fits.
Thanks, bro.
Patreon behind the Throwing Fits paywall. No, I mean, I don't know.
Toss this man $5 if you got it laying around, if you haven't already.
Well worth it.
We charge so little.
Talking to you, Ian.
Yeah, blackbirdspyplane.com. Check it out. Have a
Ian
good time.
Ian did confirm re-sign up. I think actually, I don't know if it was a $5 or.
He did the wise thing, which any listener out there can do, which is you buy it annually.
Yeah,
you get $10 off,
dude. We have the same deal, dude.
Well, we have you buy annual, you get $3 off, 10% off.
Yeah,
boom
of the annual. Mm-hmm. No, wait, 5% off. Excuse me.
I thought it was more. Whatever. Spend that money.
Be economical
on smart, cool, dope shit.
Jonah, thank you for blessing us with your fucking presence and your vibes and
nobody better to
inaugural Friday Fiasco.
Well, actually, we did one with like Gian, but that was recorded live. Shout out Gian.
Yeah,
this is the real. This is the made of.
Was there a couch at that taping?
No, there were 3 stools,
like uncomfortable, tall stools.
It was that was a soft launch. This is the true launch. And yeah, we'll get you out of here. We know that you got things to do. You got family to see. You got wifey to pick up.
Yeah,
shout out pops. No, it's so great to see you guys as always. Thank you.
Always a pleasure, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonah.
We jetting uptown. We jetting downtown. We jetting crosstown. We jetting uptown. We jetting downtown. We jetting crosstown. We jetting all around. No wonder, ain't fun. It's all
I live Brooklyn like year 24 for sure. Soon see no in my tennis skirt, and the kick hurts so good that I got assorted accents for this. Now here's a notion for my nation, cause I place you on the dynamite, right? The cremate, the scheme man to get it right. The means, almighty dollar, the green power. Let loose for the hour. I chose the black power, extra fly joint from marker to yellow paper. And you know I don't delay. Together with my honey like silk and soul, we grow and take you back to like afros. And no quitting or getting jumped by the system. It's all day, all play, got verbs and such. And cuts and crew, no blue eyes to emulate. Some straight, but yeah, we straight up funky.
He's back, the G's is back as an OD, getting funky.
The sun sets, you bet, we get mad funky.
East coast to west, we stays fresh. Easy. Smoke rise from the borough with the black cooler. The globe spins, gyms is drop. No faking, no bacon, 3 bridges for money making. Crooklyn, the Ep swingers lounge out spot. Roll one of my pants, leg up, bump my sounds, grab the micro. You know how we do in the joint. Do a borough check to see exactly who in the joint. Hot spots, city streets, lot spots, and jeeps. As a flower, I'm Nile. Rivers of style. Fresh kid. Yeah, stories complete. Fresh kid. Rolling on the New York streets with them no pork beats at the call limits. Sevens up, see no stilo, no equal, but the sun, and that's funky.
He's back, the Jesus back as an OG, and we funky.
The sun sets, you bet, we get mad, funky.
East coast to west, we stays fresh, I say.
Quickly, smoke, rise from the borough with a black cool blow.
It's that nickel slick nigga, keep it deep for my heads. Let it fed up, appearing in my camouflage. My hustler walk say New York, Sue front say Gucci, we make Gucci, and never hesitates to set it. Slap hands with my mans from the lands of crooks. Being lovely over jams that's on the flans with hooks. Burn musk, wear kush, it's Flatbush. Hear the mentor's instrumental cause it's ash to dust. I like to hit lie deep, keep fam tight, keep the vocal slickly, any joint is right. Let me fly, he's back, the G's back with the R. Sun is in the clouds on loud. I got raised by the dim street lights of 4 cities. My heroes died in prison. George Jackson, action. She's butterfly and I'm cool iron and I rock snow low unless it's scrambler. Gotten me and my honeys. We be like Bobby and Erica, me and my monies. We'll hurt you Boulevard Empire. One love, gun love, come free the land with us. Pigs they cannot shoot this fresh and creamy lavishness. Before I pop, I'd rather die in baggy gas and Sims. And I put that on the BK, LYN, and that's funky.
He's back, the Jesus back as an OD, getting funky.
The sun sets, you bet, we get mad funky.
East coast to west, we stays fresh and we do it on the slick leg.
Smoke rise from the borough with a black cool blow.
We jet it, we jet it, we jet it uptown. We jet it, we jet it, we jet it downtown. We jet it, we jet it, we jet it cross town. We jet it, we jet it, we jet it, we jet it. No wonder, no wonder. A1, we jet it, all around. No wonder, A1, we jet it, we jet it.
Space, I got what I can, I took what I feel, and how I see it. You be it, started out and quick.